Security Halt podcast is proudly sponsored by Titan's Arms. Head to the episode description and check out Titan's Arms today.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
That's the greatest way to start this endeavor.
We'll do it live.
That was my favorite mission. And my favorite thing was the ad hoc in the moment mission.
Yeah, dude.
I remember, I forget this guy's last name. I remember his first name, Donald. I got a positive card, then I got a major minus card because the dude had a moment of like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, you're fucking not in charge. I'm in charge. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And our cadre were like, that was fucking awesome. I love what you just did.
Dude.
But
Chris was cadre out there at the schoolhouse, so he knows.
Yeah, I love seeing captains get like fired by a E4 18 X-ray.
It's the same, dude. Me more than most. I'll bet you I enjoy that more than you do.
I channeled Bill O'Reilly in that moment, and it was like my one moment of glory at Sir Robin Sage. I was like, fuck yeah, we'll figure it out en route.
I still have guys from my SEER team that reach out. Like, we never served on an ODA together, but they'll reach out and we'll still joke about how like 80% of what we did, I was like, fuck it, dude, let's just send it. Like we can either take time to try to figure this out or just do it live and see what happens. Like, we're not going to die, you know?
And oddly enough, that actually works in real life too.
Yeah. It does. Yeah, it's a good skill.
Part, yeah.
Oh, gentlemen, welcome to Security Halt podcast. With me today are the intrepid men of Corsair Racing. You guys are longtime followers. You remember them from season 2 when the product was not refined. And let's be honest, it was a slightly bit of a shit show, but now they have grown. And today we're going to dive into their journey. Gentlemen, please introduce yourself.
Who wants to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, Chris Farrington, former 5th grade guy. Glad to be back on the podcast. It's looked like it's grown. And yeah, I mean, even your setup looks way more badass than I think the first time we did it, where it's like kind of like what my setup is right now, just anywhere I could do it.
Yeah, for those that are just recently tuning in, it used to be a setup like Bang Bus. It was just horrible.
Yeah.
Just the worst.
A little rapey.
It gave out really bad vibes. It's decent now.
All right,
Well,
JT
yeah,
Mullen. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
JT Mullinex retired out of SOT D, was a civil affairs guy, and glad to be on the podcast, man.
Oh, yeah. Welcome, JT.
Jerry Hartman, new to the Corsair crew. I'm just an old school ranger. Yeah, that likes rowing.
Oh, Pete, welcome back.
We're stoked to have Jerry on the team. Yeah, I'm Pete Glazer. I'm one of the co-founders of Corsair Racing. And like any good operator, all these guys are being very humble. They just completed a transoceanic row across the Pacific Ocean from Monterey, California to Honolulu Bay, Hawaii. And they finished that race just a couple weeks ago. So just as much as you, Denny, I'm really excited to sit down and hear about their actual experiences, what it did for them. Because like any good ODA, as soon as they got back, we're already training for the next mission. So I'm excited to hear the impact it had on their personal lives because I've only gotten breadcrumbs.
Yeah, let's kick it off with there, man. I want to let you guys know, the journey, the mission, it has stuck with me. I've been following it since we had our first podcast together, and being able to watch it and see the tidbits. But the impact of seeing you guys at the finish line, at the ceremony, afterwards, I hadn't even met any of you in person, but I connected with you in those moments, like seeing you guys tear up, celebrate, making the finish, making it across all the way and having your moment of victory and seeing you guys on that stage. It was a representation of what all of us hope to succeed in life after service. Like, I don't take it lightly. It was an amazing moment to see, like, holy shit, they finally did it. The boys finally did it. And I want to dive into that journey. How did it start? How was it kicking off and finally being in the water, rowing across the fucking ocean, man?
Yeah, you start in Monterey, and the way they set it up is very get your boat in a parking lot, and then your 4 days of inspections, packing, all this stuff. And I think the reason why they do it is so that they make sure that you're prepared to go. But I think a small bit of it is you're roasting on a hot parking lot. All of your like food is like melting. Like the gummies are now one gummy. The chocolate is like, just a melted mush. and you're ready to put your boat in the water and just leave. And I think that's a part of like their whole thing is like, yeah, we'll put them in this hot parking lot and we'll inspect all their stuff and let these guys roast. So by the time we launch them, they're more than happy to get away from Monterey.
Bro, it sounds a lot like JI inspection before deployment.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, big time. It's like, I just want to get this over with. Me and Jerry, JT, we had these discussions of like, dude, it's day 2 and I'm sick of this. Like, let's get in the water. And you finally get your boat in the water, and then you still have 2 days, I think 2 to 3 days after that, where you're adjusting your trim and you're testing systems before you go. And it's just like they built it to where it was like each step got you closer to, actually heading out, which was super awesome.
Yeah, the morning we headed out, like I'm getting an adrenaline rush. Thinking I haven't thought about it. It was like scary. None of us wanted to admit that we were scared shitless.
Yeah.
They had camera crews that wanted to talk to us. We're all like too emotional to talk.
Mm-hmm.
It was like going on deployment. It was like, oh shit, here it goes. It was a great feeling.
Man, and I have to imagine like it's scary. You finally get on the water. JT, what was it like for you watching the land start to become smaller and smaller and smaller? Now you're just out in the open fucking ocean.
I don't remember anything. Like, I remember rowing out, but I know there were people all over, but you're so emotional and you don't want to look up in the crowds because you just want to get out. And then it seemed like it took several days for us before the land was gone, but it really, by day 2, it was, you're out there. And then, day 1 was like, oh shit, man, this is going to be easy. Day 2 was a eye opener. Like, here, getting ready to be into something that we probably don't know what we're going to get into. And then day 5 was a day of hell. And that's all I'm going to leave at. Day 5 is a day that I marked on, we all did, on our calendar, that was probably the top 5 things that we've ever done. Is probably the hardest thing we've ever done. And it was,
we got to dive into that. We got to dive into that. What was day 5?
An absolute
shit show.
Just a nightmare of a day. So, I count the day starting.
Let me just say first that day 5 was not hard at all.
Yeah.
I'll
the guy who was sick.
Easiest day I've ever had in my life was day 5.
So, the 1 a.m. shift comes around.
Oh yeah.
I get out on the water. It's pitch black. Then you can't see anything. There's, the cloud cover is just, it's complete. We had the nav light on early on just because we were like, we don't want to get hit by a boat. That eventually started going away after a while. But so the nav light, you can't see, but maybe I would say 15 meters around the boat. And I come out on shift and it is wild outside. There are 30 to 40 foot swells. We're getting hit on the side of the boat. So it's not like we can even ride, the waves and push us along to Hawaii. We're going like, sideways and then up and over and looking straight down. And before I could even really capture what was going on, I'm getting in my position. I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good. Jerry's like, dude, I don't feel good. And I'm like, just, take it easy, brother. I got this. And, get on when you can. And I start rowing and it is like wet concrete. Like I can barely get a stroke in. I'm like putting, all my strength into this to just kind of try to push us forward a little bit. And I lean back and I'm like, Jerry, brother, you got to go get someone else. I need help. Like just rust this one off, like hit the next shift, whatever. And so JT inherently, got picked for that. So he just got off a 2-hour shift from this nightmare and then is now back into the nightmare for another 2 hours. And, once we got in the groove and we started rowing and kind of really got to feel what was going on around us, it was like moment after moment of just like holding on or leaning the best we could so this boat wouldn't flip. And you couldn't see it coming. It was just happening to you.
Fuck.
And then that went throughout the night. And then the morning came, and then you started actually being able to see these 35 and 40 foot swells that are coming at you. Now imagine we've done probably close to 9 hours of rowing in this damn concrete, and it's still not letting up, and you're hitting all this. And it was like a 24-hour period of you just like, I want to go in and I want to lay in the cabin. And please, dear God, when I wake up, let this nightmare be over. But it wasn't. It just kept continuing for like 24 hours. We done a total of like 34 nautical miles, and it felt like we done a total of like 2 nautical miles.
Yeah.
And day 6, a little bit better. And it was just every day you're just like, shit, when are we going to get out of this shit storm? And then day 8, it finally, broke free. But they were a lot of moments on that boat. I don't want to hear another moment about this shit's going to change in the next 8 hours. I don't want to hear anything, man. I just want to row and get out of this misery.
I think day 6, 7 were no different than 5. It was just 5 was when it started. And all of us were like, and by day 6 and 7, we were just so used to it. It's like, well, whatever, it flings me on the boat. At least I get like a break. 'Cause even when you went into the cabin, it wasn't like I'm safe now. There was like multiple times where, I would get lifted in my sleep halfway on the boat and just smack right into like the pads.
It was like little IEDs basically hitting you.
Yeah, like what was that?
Yeah. Loud as all heck, just slamming into the side of the boat, and you go flying.
And, and on top of that, it's like everything started breaking on this boat at like day 5. Yeah. So it was like Apollo 13, man. That's what we rode.
We called it Apollo 13.
Damn. It was a shit show. But we got across and we, MacGyvered through it,
We're not fast forwarding this, JT. We're not fast forwarding this.
Yeah.
So stuff starts to break. How are you managed? And it's easy to manage the chaos on a deployment, on a team. 18 Bravo, get that gun up. Charlie, start making a destruction plan. Fucking 18 Echo, get these radios get going. But you're not in a convoy. You're not in a vehicle. You're not driving across Afghanistan. You're stuck on a fucking
There's no pip in that boat. There's no pip in the boat. You can't. Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, it was kind of like a deployment. Hey, who can fix this damn thing? Hey, JT, grab this. Jerry, I need you to look at this. Chris, stay on the oars for a few minutes while I'm, holding this up. And I mean, you've got a box that's probably, everything that you mess with in that ocean is a chance of you dropping it or going overboard, and you don't have like a million spare parts. So here we were, my head underneath this, gurney, trying to figure out what wire I need to change to make this thing work. Because I'd already tried the hand pump. And what did I do? Like 40 minutes and got 1 liter of water. And I realized that was not going to be sustainable. So it was time to start MacGyvering shit.
Yeah. Yeah. We got on the sat phones, made some phone calls to some people that were like pretty savvy on things. But, luckily JT, he knows a lot about, friggin' wiring and all this other stuff. So he's like, I'll get in there and do it. It's just going to take me a bit. And then Jerry being like the second hand for him. And, all the while the boat is just wildly rocking.
Dude.
Like you're trying to take something off and hoping you're not going to, a screw's not going to go flying out of the boat, or you're going flying out of the boat with the water maker. It was, but we got it fixed. I just took, you had 2 hot wires. One went to the fan, one went to the water maker. I took one off and just put it on. And it was just like, hey, we can do 20 minutes, an hour off. Let's just hope this lasts for however long we're going to be here. But it did. It lasted to the end. Not sure if I'd ever want to row it again without getting it fixed, but.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, typically you can run those things in the morning for as long as you want to fill up, all of the jugs that you have for your drinking water for the day. But we had to run it, for 20 minutes, then shut it off for 30 minutes, then run it for another 20 minutes. And oh, by the way, our batteries are only sitting at like 30%. So we can't just keep doing this. So, they say you're supposed to be drinking 10, liters of water a day. And Jerry, what was it like? What do we average? Like maybe 2 or something like that a day between all 5 of us.
Because they were one morning, the skipper came out and said, JT, you're in charge. Here, you will give them 1 liter of water, and that's your liter until we can make water. And I mean, that was like for 9 hours. So you're like, thank God it was not hot, because if it would have been a miserable day, I don't think we, it was just, like I said, Apollo 13, man. That's what it was.
Damn.
Yeah, we got the true adventure experience. I feel blessed that the boat that Corsair owns is a 2-year-old boat. It's, it's the top of the line, systems in there and everything. But, when we do the Atlantic here in 2.5 years, it's going to be, or 2 years now, it's going to feel like I'm spoiled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be like going from, the regular army where I've got this like M4 that's been used since, freaking since Desert Storm to like showing up to an ODA and they're like, which barrel would you like to use? Which optic would you like to use? You know, like it's going to feel like that all over again.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. But there's something to having these difficult experiences to give you perspective, and I think that's part of the mission to show you that like you can overcome anything if you're willing to dive in and tap into all the skills you have. You have a background of doing without and being successful in a hell of a lot worse situations.
Yeah,
Yeah, just do it.
yeah.
Blake
Jerry,
likes to say the hardest thing you do in your life doesn't have to be, or the coolest or the gnarliest thing you do in your life doesn't have to be what you did in your 20s in the Army. And that's one of our things that we try to provide to veterans here is that whole like, hey, your adventure isn't done yet if you don't want it to be.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jerry, what were you actually like suffering from? Were you, which is just being out at sea that got you, or
no? So something happened before we left, like a few days, and my face swelled up really big. And I think I had broken a tooth, but went to a doctor, went to a dentist. They gave me all kinds of, actually, I got antibiotics, and it was basically like my decision whether I went or not. The morning of, I was kind of hoping someone would be like, you can't go, because I'm too stubborn.
I'm not going to self-select.
Yeah. I think it was just the antibiotics, not drinking enough, being in the heat. I don't know, but I got to the point when I got on shift that night, I couldn't feel my arms. I felt like I was going to pass out. That lasted. Every time I tried to get on the oars for, I think, 24 hours. It's turned into 72 hours, but it was only 24 hours.
Yeah, for the rest of that trip, Denny, like, God, useless.
Yeah, every time I would get on the oars, I felt like I was going to pass out.
That's the way I felt on day 5.
Yeah, I had to be the little, I mean, I still feel guilty about letting them down, but I cooked when I could. I tried to make sure they were dry, but man, I just felt like a shitbag, but it is what it is.
No,
You did what any good teammate would do. Like if you can't do the thing that, like really helps out, then start doing all that little shit that no one wants to do.
Absolutely.
That was great.
And at what point of the journey did you guys feel like, fuck, dude, now we got it. Now we're in flow state. We just got to keep fucking duplicating what we're doing. Like, when did you feel like you found your rhythm in work life and balancing, getting everybody on their shifts?
Yeah, I would say probably so it kind of bounced. Like week 2, the winds started kind of going in our favor and we're getting out of the northerly winds pushing you towards Mexico, essentially. But we started getting close to out of that, and the winds start kind of going from north to south to start to kind of push more west. And day 8, it was like I think we did one shift where it was like rowing in concrete, and we kind of like assessed that the wind was kind of blowing more west than anything else, southwest than anything else. So I changed the heading on the auto tiller, and then it was like night and freaking day. And then after that, it was like, okay, boys, we're riding with the currents and winds at this point. So it was like, that was the first, like, now we're doing it. We're past this week 1 bullshit, and now we're actually going towards Hawaii. But then, like every week there'd be something else. Like, the last week in particular, like I got so wrapped up in how much mileage we were doing, because every time we got off shift, guys wanted to know how far they went or whatever. So I had the map on the chart plotter tiny, and I just focused on how much mileage we were doing and then reporting that to everyone after every shift, and totally didn't realize that we got caught in a south current that was just pushing us towards the Big Island, and we're like, we got to correct this. So then we had about, what was it, guys, like 8 to 10 hours of just like trying to row like north by northwest to get out of that. And then looking at Wendy and some other apps, I could see the current was kind of doing like an S. And if you weren't paying attention to it, it would take you about 20 to 50 nautical miles away from the northern tip of Kauai, and just send you to Australia or whatever.
Way off.
Yeah, so every week there was like, it felt like we were gliding for a little while, and then something would come up where it's like, dude, what is going on today? Like, this sucks. The first time the clouds broke and the sun was just beating down on us, we were averaging around, mid 60 nautical miles a day. We would get 70s. One day we got 82, but the first day that the sun really came out and started frying us, we did like 55, and it was absolutely miserable. And it was like, I really hope tomorrow isn't like this. And it was. You just got used to it.
But let's just be honest. I will take it back to day 8. This is what Chris, right? We were all just miserable. It's like you could just not get out of this concrete. Chris opens up the door and he's like, listen, we can either sit here and bitch and whine about this shit or get on the fucking oars and start rowing. And when he done that, it's like the next 8 hours was rough, but then all of a sudden it just changed. So let's just be real. He came out being a typical asshole, which we needed because we were all at that point of like, dude, I'm done. My arms hurt. My back hurts. My knees hurt. I just wish this boat would flip over and just, send us somewhere else so we wouldn't have to row. But after that, it was, every day was something different. I mean, it wasn't like we were rowing concrete. It was just like either the winds would change or something else would break on the boat or, it was, but after day 8, I think we got our rhythm and we're like, okay, hey, we need to dig into this if we're going to get across this ocean. We all agreed, 33 to 35 days when we took off. Before we ever took off, we're like, hey, this would be a good time for all of us. We did want to set a record, but I think most of us was just like, hey, we want to come in a respectable time. I was shooting for 33. We all agreed to at least come in before 35 days. And I think, at the end of the day, I think we achieved that. And that was our goal. And I think,
yeah,
at the end of the day, we done what we set out to do.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. I want to take a moment and allow each one of you to reflect on what this journey meant to you. And
yeah,
we talk about awe, and I try to champion this idea. A lot of us, I didn't grow up in an environment where I was able to go travel the world as a young kid outside of the military. So a lot of the amazing experiences I have, they're locked in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That awe that calls you, that recall of like when you saw greatness, oftentimes is still locked in to our combat experience, to an environment where we lost some friends, where we saw some horrible shit. When you're able to do something like this, it gives you a new, powerful, anchoring memory of awe and greatness. And that's something all of our veterans and service members need to look forward to. If you can reflect on this journey, what are some moments of awe and what did this journey like allow you to feel?
Yeah, Jerry, you send it and then I'll go.
Well, real quick, day 8, according to JT, was day of joy.
Yeah.
Joy. I have we wrote down what all the days meant, and I just found the list. Man, that's a tough question. I mean, I definitely learned a lot about myself. Things I didn't like, things I didn't realize about myself. I actually asked people that I care about to write me letters. And the ongoing theme was that you are stronger than you think. And then I started realizing that like my self-esteem is shot. My confidence is shot. And I asked Chris about that a few days ago, and he's like, oh yeah, like you have like the lowest self-esteem I've ever seen. You're always like self-doubting yourself. And I would never admit that before this row. So now I'm working on that. But as far as like my biggest impression on the row would be rowing at night. And I think from like day 10 to maybe like the last week, every stroke you would take, the water would light up with bioluminescence. And it was just so beautiful. That mixed with the stars, like that's something I'm never going to forget. That was my piece out there, I guess you'd say.
That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, I think for me, and me and Jerry discussed this while rowing. I don't think it was the hardest thing I've ever done at all. I think what I saw value in with this row is I had the time to sit and confront all my demons. And then I had a crew that all had demons too. I mean, that boat, it was 5 shit shows in a boat, like trying to, heal themselves, so it was like, I'm not alone in this. And once the first person broke out to open up about something, then it was just like let's all talk this out while we're on our shifts. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you're not going anywhere. You're doing the same shit over and over again, and you're seeing the same people for the next month and a half, 2 months, however long it takes you to row. So you really have time to kind of talk about some of the things you're concerned about with yourself, and then realize other people are going through that too, and then try to figure out how that needs to change. Like you don't need to keep being that way. And that's where I think this kind of activity for vets is I think that's the value. It's not so much Yeah, I mean, inherently, you did a really hard thing, and it's not a lot of people do it. More people have gone to space than rode across the Mid Pacific. That's cool and all, and that's like something, some bragging rights. We all need to have bragging rights. We're these type of dudes, we need to be like, oh yeah, cool, man, I rode the ocean, so I don't, whatever, go away. But that just comes with the territory. The real value is, you're confronting a lot of shit with your friends who are also confronting a lot of shit, and then you end up doing it together, and then it culminates in this like beautiful location that you end up in, and people are cheering you on, and so then like all that shit really smacks you in the face once you get sight of the island, and you're about to like go hug your family and stuff, and all you've been thinking about is how could I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? How can I be a better person? Like I'm doing this thing to help other people. Like how and how can I fix myself to be a good example for the next guy who's really suffering, and get him involved into something that maybe he wouldn't have gotten involved with, therapy, yoga, whatever it may be. And I don't know, that's kind of, for me, that's probably the highlight of the whole experience is, understanding a lot of things about myself and then how I want to help others.
Yeah, man. Self-reflection is a powerful thing that we
Yeah.
don't get in this busy world. We have so many distractions that keep us plugged in, like our family, our job, the demands of taking care of other people, do outs. It makes it really difficult to look in the mirror and say, hey, I need to fix this. I need to work on this.
Yeah.
And our own issues with getting help and seeking out support can keep us from doing that. But if you're stuck out in the middle of the ocean, 5 other dudes,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just rowing, just like on an ODA, in a car or in an MRAP, driving down a desert, at some point, windshield therapy kicks in and you start talking.
Yep.
And that's a remarkable part of this journey. Yeah, it's a sexy, awesome, cool thing. But really and truly, you're just giving men a chance to sit down with each other, with warriors, and talk and think through some problems. Like, the greatest therapist out there will always tell you, like, dude, I can't lead a horse to water and make it drink. I can't make you change your habits or give up the things that are killing you. Like, I can guide you, I can help you realize your answer, but ultimately you make the decision, you make the choice. And I think that's a big part of this journey, man. Exactly what you just shared.
Well, it's like, on the side of like, should I continue, my health and getting better? It's like, if you decide to go away from that after this journey, I just don't think it is possible, but I think it's too easy to look back and go, hang on, like I just spent a month doing one of the shittiest things on the planet. Like what shit that I just went through on the boat, self-reflection, everything else, just to hop back into the same dumb shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JT, what about you, man?
All right. So for me, so Paul Laurie, who is like probably best known, one of the greatest rowers that I know of, who helped us as we were starting our row, across the Pacific. It was kind of weird, he just said, hey, make this your journey. And because I'd looked at other things like going to, Ibogaine, stuff like that, to just kind of get some of the demons that I know that bothered me. But he just told me, he said, hey, no matter what, just make this your journey. And at the end of the day, just promise me when you get off the boat that, you'll still be in contact with the 5 that you went across with, because he's like, because if you don't do that, it's not really a journey. It was just you rowing the ocean and being an asshole about it is how I looked at it. So, but they were times, trust me, I would go in and I was like, oh my God, dude, why did I promise about this? There are things that I want to say on this boat, but then I'd self-reflect, which was a good thing, because on day 1, we watched, a team that showed up and it was kind of a shit show. And then at day 5, they didn't row with us. Skipper came out and said, hey, I don't want to row with this crew. And I was like, holy crap.
And this is
and these
before
people
getting out on the water.
Yeah, before us getting out on the water. And, when I seen that, I was like, okay, man, this is my journey. And the one thing we're not going to do is quit. So, let's just have open, candid discussions on the boat. If we don't like something, don't take it into the cabin. Let's discuss it then. That way, we leave rowing in a good, positive way. And we come back on, we're in a good, positive way. So, I mean, that's kind of how I've kind of self-reflected on myself, because I knew that, anger was one of the things that drove me crazy, just all the stuff that I've done throughout my military career. And I was like, I just want to be a better person when I get off of this. So, and that's what I reflected on. I was like, okay, how can I change today? How can I be a better person? Yeah, I was still an asshole, and I'll probably always be an asshole till the day I'm dead and gone, but that's just my old age. But I did try to, like, okay, hey, I want to be a better husband. These are the things that I screwed up, and I want to try to fix those when I get back home, which I have. I mean, I've seen a big change in my life. And so that's what I took out of this journey. And believe it or not, best 35 days. I mean, even though it was hard, definitely not the hardest thing I've ever done. And when they asked me, hey, would I do it again? I'd definitely do it again. Day 5 sucked, but the rest of that was just, I mean, I just took it as, okay, I'm on a 180-day deployment and it's going to suck. And I'm going to see the same shit day in and day out. But at the end of this thing, I'm getting off this boat. My wife's going to be there. All 5 of us are still going to be friends. We're going to go out. We're going to drink a beer. We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk, mad shit about what we didn't do, what we could have done better. And now that we're off, the boat, I'm still in contact with all the guys. I mean, even though, the 2 others that's not part of a Corsair Racing. And I just feel like it's a brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever you want to call it. It's just something that's a bond that you will never forget about. It's a great experience. I would, my goal is to get as many veterans on these boats as we can. Even if it's just a 3-day, 5-day, or they go across the Atlantic, Pacific, Gulf of Mexico, whatever they want to do. I just want it to be a journey that when they get off.
Yes, that'll make a good meme. Oh, hey there. It's just a quick pause. Allow me to talk about my latest sponsor, Titan's Arms. If you're looking to get jacked, get better, get faster, get stronger, head on over to the episode description, click the link there, and head on over to Titan's Arms today to build yourself back better and stronger. Scare! All right, back to the show.
When they get off, their life has changed.
Hell yeah. Absolutely, man. I want to pivot now to where Corsair is going to next. I mean, this was a huge, finally did it. We got the team on the water. Nobody died. They made it there safe. What's next? What's the next great adventure?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll
go ahead.
Intro to that, Chris, and then hand it over to you. But I just want to say that I had a baby almost exactly the day that they finished the race. So I was sidelined, right? But watching my teammates do this and watching like the live stream of them finishing, it was like, it was a sense of pride for me. I mean, it's like, obviously I'm like serious FOMO, but coming out of the race, our whole team dynamic has shifted. We've got Jerry and we're stoked to have him. But watching JT and Chris go from day 0 to like, hey, what's ocean rowing, to where they are today, the momentum has picked up a ton. And we've got a lot of really exciting stuff on the horizon. And with that, very proud to be a part of this team and join the experts now on an ocean crossing. But I'll hand it over to Chris on what we're actually doing tactically.
Yeah, so the next thing for Corsair is the Gulf. We're gonna cross it. Right now, I'm reaching out to the powers to be to see what's a legit crossing, and then from everything that I've researched and people I've reached out to, no one's done it. So right then and there, we're gonna get a world record. So it's something to be pretty excited about. It'll be the core team members, and it's our big push to raise awareness of what we're doing and what our goals are and what we're trying to do. And then shortly after that, we're probably going to pick up our first veterans that we've never met before and get them out on the water, which is going to be super awesome. Yeah.
What's the selection process going to be for that?
Yeah, so for
70-mile ruck march
for ones, it's pretty low commitment because one of us who's got the experience will be steering the ship essentially. So you can show up and just start rowing, and ideally, like we're gonna have chase boats and things like that. So if guys like get into it and they're like, I can't, like I'm throwing up, I'm not gonna deal with this. Like we can remove them from the situation. It's like very, very low pressure, low threat kind of activity, and it's not going to be like, yeah, we're going 50 miles out to the Gulf Stream and we're just going to see where it takes us. It's going to be kind of localized ocean rowing, just like a good day, good weekend. And then as we get, people that want to go further and further, or we get a team that wants to do the Pacific or the Atlantic or the Indian Ocean or whatever, that will probably be, well, not probably, it's going to be a higher vetting process. And we're going to be holding guys to certain standards, because the last thing we want is to send guys out that aren't prepared or we know aren't probably going to make it, just from the experience that we've had. Yeah, like if someone applies to it and wants to do it, then it's a conversation. We have expectations you have to meet, and if you can't meet those, it's kind of like a 3-strike deal. Like, hey man, sorry, like you need to do these things and maybe we can move you to the next one or whatever. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty intense selection process for the bigger ones, but the smaller ones, it's like, Denny, I don't know you. Come onto the boat. Let's go do this. And I'm going to grill up on an island somewhere in the afternoon. And then we're going to row 10 miles back to the dock. And you don't have to do shit other than get on the oars.
Because you do see a lot of, teams, and you hear about it and you see it, that you row somebody across the ocean or somebody didn't feel like rowing for 2 or 3 days. And the last thing you want is we get guys and we spend that money and get them out, and then they either quit or they leave that boat hating everyone on the boat. And, I'm a true believer that we do need to have some kind of vetting process. Hey, we'll go out on the boat with them. Are they rowing? Are they rowing the right way? Are they a team dynamic, or is it a team of failure? And we can see it, and we're going to have those hard conversations with those guys. And I mean, it's not going to be easy as a board member saying, hey, man, I just don't think you're going to fit the bill for this team. And maybe you find another guy and you can row it next year, but the team that you're at is not going to get our boat across the water. And the last thing we want is some bad publicity, of our boat going across, and guys are just putting horrible things on social media and just hating one another, because that's going to come back on us as an organization. So yeah, we're going to have those hard conversations, but I think we're ready for it. And we know, I think the three of us know what we're looking for and looking at, because we've done it and we understand the guys that we've seen to the left and right of us and the girls. And, it's definitely going to be an eye opener, and, something that we're just going to have to be mentally prepared for when that time comes. But I'm really looking forward to, what Chris and Jerry, they're putting a program together for us to start rowing again, and for all 5 of us to come out, because the greatest part was when we landed, getting to see Blake and his wife, there to meet us. And I was hoping, Pete's wife was having a kid, but just seeing the team member there when we got done was just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good
Yeah,
time.
it's
Something
like I
else-
said. Go ahead, Pete.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to add to kind of what we have coming down the pipe. And Chris alluded to it by getting veterans out on the boat, but we're looking to partner with some of these veteran nonprofits to pay for vets to go do excursions, right? So think an organization like Soft Excursions, who I don't think we've talked to yet, but the idea would be, hey, I've got a handful of guys that are interested in this. We'll give you money to bring them out. And we've got a couple of those partnerships in the works. But what I'm most excited for is we're signed up for the Atlantic race in 2027, Spain to Antigua. And at the end of that race, JT, Chris, and Jerry will have crossed the Pacific, crossed the Gulf, and until someone else does it, we'll have been the only ones to cross the Gulf. And then they'll have crossed the Atlantic. And so our long-term vision there is that Corsair Racing is a legitimate global leader in this sport of ocean rowing. Our core team will have done all the big ones. The Indian Ocean, and there's other challenges that we'll look to do beyond that. But by the end of 2027, we feel that once we accomplish that race, we'll be recognized as a global, like a leading organization in the sport of ocean rowing globally. But in the US, we're like the only standing program for this sport. So as it grows and more people get interested, we'll be kind of at the vanguard of that. And honestly, I think that's what sponsors down the road will be interested in, is like, we'll not just be doing something great for veterans, not just be doing something cool, but we'll also be at the front end of this sport. Like, what does it mean to be a professional ocean rower? Like, we could help define those terms with the community based off the vast experience we'll have by the end of 2027. And once that's complete, the focus is going to shift almost fully on providing this to others. And from a safety perspective, you're not going to have more qualified and capable safeties and experts and coaches than you'll find in JT, Chris, and Jerry, being soft NCOs that are now like global leaders in ocean rowing. And we look to be running our own training courses, teaching people about the sport, participating in the governing bodies such as World Toughest Row or the Ocean Rowing Society, and kind of look at ourselves and get the world to look at us as like, hey, those guys in North America, that US team, they're very legit. And if you want to get into ocean rowing, they're the people to call.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
son of a bitch. It sounds like you used a mission planning guidance and put together the perfect fucking plan. Damn
It
it.
was
I
beat into
knew
my
you
skull,
did.
dude.
I
It was
knew
beat
it.
into my skull. I can't do this whole conversation. All I can think about is like, I don't want to chime in. I was on the sideline, but all I can think about is like, dude, this sounds like an ODA. That's exactly what we were going for.
Yeah.
You've got these killer NCOs that just make shit happen. And then the officer brain's like, hey guys, I want to do the next big thing for the mission and make sure we have our sit rep photos for the media page.
Sure.
Everybody put on your Corsair shirt for the
But
But it matters. It fucking matters. And that's
It
the thing
does.
that we need to understand is you literally went and got an amazing education on how to plan big, amazing things. You can take all that, you can take the bullets out of the equation, the killing people out of the equation, and you can still execute. You can still make an amazing thing that's of service to the greater veteran and service member community. You're helping and creating something so friggin' huge. And the way you just outlining, it's like, dude, this is a no-brainer. Like, this is something the Forces Foundation be a great partner.
Heck yeah, dude.
Because you're doing stuff that is appealing to our soft brothers. It's something that when you see something like this come across your desk, you're like, holy shit, like I might be lost. I might not know what I want to do for my next chapter, but this looks incredibly fun and dangerous and amazing. And if Green Berets are doing it, I want to be a part of it. But we also need to know, like, what do you guys need to continue growing and making this thing even bigger? Like, how can we help champion this cause? What do you need in order to get that big financial backer that's going to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to dump all this money to you guys, make this thing grow?
We definitely need money.
Yeah.
That's the non-political way to say it. It's like we need money to sustain our operations. The big thing for us is what we're offering, and this has been what we've offered since day one, is we will bear the brunt of all of those startup expenses. A new ocean rowing boat is $150,000 with no equipment.
Yeah.
$200,000, maybe $250,000 is what you would need to go from nothing to be able to row an ocean. We own that, personally, and from what we've fundraised. And with that, we can then cut that expense down by way more than half, and we could sustain these operations and fundraise internally to get veterans out there. So that's one thing. We're looking for donors, whether it's friends and family, corporate sponsorships, small businesses. We believe that we're an exceptional sponsorship partner and that we'll message for your company, recruit for your company. We'll work for you, man, if you support our mission and our cause. And so that's certainly one avenue. And if not the largest is landing those big sponsors that are interested in supporting a veteran cause, interested in being a part of something new in the United States and North America, interested in that adventure type of nonprofit. I mean, I think that covers a wide swath of potential investors and donors.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, and I mean, and we've all agreed on this. I mean, it's not just about, Corsair Racing. It's about the other nonprofits out there, because when we get these guys or whoever on these boats with us, I mean, we're not just looking at this individual. We're going to be like, okay, he has severe TBI or he has severe PTSD or he's going through some kind of struggles. There are other nonprofits out there that, that we want to be able to say, hey, let's send this guy to here, and truly get him the help that he needs. And yeah, we got him, where he needs to be somewhat stable in his life. And maybe all it is just ocean rowing. But if it's not, we want to make sure that we have enough money and enough other, nonprofits that we can send that person to truly fix him. Maybe we may not 100% fix him, but if we get him to 50% where he's functional back in society, I think that's a win for Corsair Racing. And that's how I'm kind of envisioning this whole thing in the next 5 years. I mean, that's my 5-year plan that I would love to see Corsair Racing get to, that we're literally taking a person who's at his wit's end, and at the end of the day, he's back being a functional person in society and getting his life straight, whether that's with his family or just himself, because I think we've all been, I mean, I know I've been that down that road. And I'm glad that Corsair Racing was here, and I got, and I'm glad that I got to row an ocean with, Rangewell Rows, and now we're back running our organization and getting it the way we want it to be. And that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's something that the past 2 years, we've really been building a network so that we do have those touch points. And for anyone that's listening to this or interested, like at one point, you can apply for one of our programs that we'll be running, and you won't just do the program and leave. We're building a community on Discord. There's going to be constant touch points where now you're in the Corsair family, and whether you rode a weekend with us or you rode the Atlantic Ocean, there's always going to be a touch point, and you're a part of a family that is now, if you've had a loss of community, which we all typically do when we retire or ETS or whatever, now you got one. It's it's your community, it's your people that you left, and now you're back in it, and there's a wealth of knowledge there. And if we don't have the right answer, somebody on that Discord is going to be able to say, oh brother, I did this through this VA process or whatever. And I think that's another real exciting thing that we're building, that that kind of gives us a pretty good leg up on some organizations that just see you, treat you, and then send you off.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
We also, they're just going back to the support, like, how valuable just following us on Instagram, the Instagram follows spreads awareness. A lot of companies, that's what they want to see, is a wide following before they sponsor you with their product or monetarily. So giving us a follow. Our Instagram handle is at Corsair.racing, COURSER.racing. And then we also, we're running a sale on some of our swag right now. We've got a sick artist that puts some good stuff together. And you can find that through our Instagram channels, like our website, www.corsairracing.org. There's a donate link there. You can go in there and donate, or you can run to our store there. We've got some more expensive items, but keep in mind that's what you're purchasing is donating to the cause. But yeah, purchasing swag, following us on Instagram, tell your friends, tell your family. And for the listeners, if you know a small business or a defense business or somebody interested in donating to a veteran cause, that's what we're looking for. And we spend a lot of time reaching out to companies and connecting with our networks and things like that. So even if it was just like hey, I want to connect you guys to my buddy who's at this company, we want all of that. And you can contact us through our website as well. There's a contact page there that's pretty easy to get a hold of us.
Hell yeah. I'll be doing my part. I got a few people to connect you guys with because I want to see the shit blow up. And yeah, I think that.
We'll thank you for an episode while we're on the Gulf.
Yeah.
But we'll be standing there on the ocean and do this again in 6 months if you're up to it. But bandwidth may not be fantastic, but we'll have the Starlink.
It'll be amazing. The Horizon's just going to be doing this while we're talking to you. It'll be
even
wonderful.
Better, dude. Anything you guys are involved in, I am in 100%. Full stop. Yeah. Whatever Pete and the boys are doing, count me the fuck in. I believe in this mission. I believe in this cause. Just like I said, all the way back to that dog ship product that was pushing out in season 2 to this refined and a little bit better product that I have now. I believe in you guys. I believe in your mission. And I believe that the first thing we can do for ourselves in order to fight back and know what we're dealing with mentally is take care of our bodies. Be willing to push yourself to do something physically each and every day. Greater cause than putting something on the calendar and templating a great fucking mission, which we did for our entire career 6 months out. You're going to go here. You have a training plan. Start doing that for yourself. I'll make it easier. You want to take on this challenge? You want to join and row across the fucking ocean? I will give you a free row machine. All you got to do is join our Whoop team, code right here. And you'll be in the running to win an awesome Concept 2 rower. The competition starts right now. All you have to do is join the team. At the end of August, I'm going to choose somebody in our Whoop team, and they're going to get a free rower. Concept 2. Free of charge. Why? Because I like you guys. I want to see you get out there and crush life and do great things. And I want you to wake up every morning, and even if it's row for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and eventually get to a couple hours, so you can say to yourself, maybe I can do this. And then you can contact Pete and you can say, I want to be involved. I want to row across fucking ocean and be a beast like Jerry, like JT and Chris. I want to do this. And I want you to do that. I want you to wake up and be inspired, because your greatness doesn't end when you fucking check out a group and you no longer wear the Green Beret. You can continue to be a badass. Guys, I can't thank you enough for being here today. But more importantly, I cannot thank you enough or show enough gratitude for what you accomplished. Being able to watch you guys succeed in that video is fucking remarkable and is going to continue to provide inspiration for our brothers and sisters out there. So please continue going. I'll make you a promise. I won't stop if you don't stop. So I will continue making this low tier podcast and putting out reels and memes all day, every day, if you guys continue serving our community. So if you're in the mission, I'm in the mission. Again,
we appreciate you, Denny. We love what you're doing as well. And could say the same thing right back at you. You're doing great for our community as well. And we're all following it. And we appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, man. Please, guys, if you're listening, do me a favor, pause, go to the episode description, click on those links, donate, join the Whoop team, be in the running to win your very own row machine. I certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. And guys, thank you again for being here. Absolute pleasure. And I can't wait to have you all back on. We'll see you all next time.
Right on. We'll see you next time, Denny.
Yeah.
Security Halt Podcast is proudly sponsored by Titans Arms. Head to the episode description and check out Titans Arms today.